Hi everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Vinny. So this is the second time that I'm recording this now because the first time, unfortunately, I forgot to empty the storage on my device, and I was just almost done with the whole thing, and you know, it messed up the stuff. So I deleted it, and I'm doing it again. And I want to talk about this whole midlife crisis thing that seems to be an issue for a lot of people. Um, I was even reading an article about it earlier today, where they were talking about that. Where apparently there are so many people from my generation, right, that were born in the either the 60s or early 70s that are having problems now, depression problems, health problems, physical strength problems, loneliness, suffering of loneliness. And this is sad to know, first of all, and it's crazy to hear because I don't understand what happened to people, especially if they, I mean, if you were born in the 60s or 70s, you're either in your 60s or 50s today. And at that point in your life, even if you haven't had a perfect life, which probably has been the case for a lot of people, for just about everybody. Nobody has a perfect life. That's an illusion. No, don't get that Hollywood BS into your head because it's not true. Even for famous and powerful people, you know, you don't know what goes on those people's lives. You think you do, but you don't. So I'm here to tell you that there's no such thing as a perfect life, first of all. Second of all, at that point in your life, you should be somewhat satisfied and content with how far you've gotten, no matter what you've achieved. Because if you're looking at life from the right perspective, knowing and understanding that this is all about the experience here, the ups and downs, everything that comes with it, right? That at that point, if you're having, this crisis about yourself, and now you're having loneliness problems and depression problems, why? Do you want to know why? Because you're choosing to live a life of regret, resentment, and live in the past and reliving things that perhaps you would perhaps you would change it if you could, that things that you have done it in the past, but you can't change that stuff is done. It's in the past. That's history. What is the point? I don't understand why people live their lives their way, and and then they wonder why they're having the psychological issues. It's just bizarre to me. And it's sad, though. It's sad because I am pretty sure there's a huge chunk of people. This article was talking about there's a lot of people in that boat right now. Yeah, because society is being, you know, engineered in such a way that so many so many people gotten their lives altered because of that, because of these external mechanisms that are there making people change the way they live their lives, the way they think about themselves, the way they think about life in general. People out there who are susceptible to these external energies and influences, that let's say all of a sudden, let's say there's a couple you know, that they've been happily married, most of their lives, and then all of a sudden, um, the wife, because, I don't know, it happens though. That's the thing. So this is not an attack on women here, right? I just want to get that clear. This don't take this personal, guys. I'm just going to use this as an example because the data doesn't lie. Just look at the data. Most divorces are um, initiated by women based on the data. So I can't imagine. I don't have to imagine that. Why I went through that. I know what it's like. But I was younger though, so for me it wasn't that bad. I was in my 30s when I got divorced. So, and I've been by myself ever since because I haven't found anyone, to my liking to risk, breaking my peace of mind at this point in my life. And that's not to say that that's not going to happen, but I'd rather be by myself and have my peace than be with the wrong person. And this is what everybody should do. Put yourself first, you know. So, like I was saying, that example, then, because of all this social media garbage that's out there, TikTok and this and that, and all these ideologies that are there, making some women today start to, rethink their lives, even though they're fine as they are. They have, let's say, a husband that is the provider, is doing his job, whatever, all these things, right? Then all of a sudden she decides to divorce the guy out of nowhere because of all these external things. Some people have weak minds, psychologically speaking. This is another problem, you know. And like I said, this is not an attack. It's just an example. Look at the data. The data doesn't lie. And so from a guy perspective, I can see why, it it can affect people in a very bad way. Let's say the guy, he worked his whole life, he built his assets, all this stuff, and now he gets divorced because his wife decided that he was no good no more or whatever. She can do better and all this stuff, right? And then the guy loses half of his stuff. And yeah, I can see how that may affect people in a lot of ways that will make them be depressed, feel lonely, and all this stuff. But despite all these things that happen in life, that happen to a lot of people don't usually see that these things happen in our lives for a reason. Regardless. And if these things happen, it's because we had to go through it. We don't remember these things, but we choose to go through these things, guys. That's the other thing. We choose this. I am a big proponent, and I believe this wholeheartedly, that we, before we come here, we have a whole plan that we kind of lay it out for ourselves, and we know what we're going to be subjecting ourselves to. And then we go through the motions of life. And not everyone, apparently, this day and age, is equipped to be able to handle these things very well. And because there is so much stuff going on these days with humanity, so to speak, I can see why so many people are having, these issues with depression, loneliness, health issues, all these things that this article was talking about. But I was surprised when I was reading this, because I didn't realize that it was such a widespread problem. Because you would think that at this point in the game, most people, my age, or 10, 15 years older, whatever, that everyone is okay and happy, content and satisfied with how they are and where they are in their lives. And that's not the case at all. At all. And to me, that speaks volume about the state of affairs, generally speaking, of everyone out there. Everyone is living the rat race, and everyone is still locked into survival mode. But most people are not happy with what they are doing in their own lives, not satisfied, not not feeling fulfilled. None of these things that are the things that everyone chases their whole lives. Because these things, you don't chase these things. You change your way of being, your way of thinking. And then these things, they just flourish from within you. That's how it works. Like happiness, joy, love, all these things, you don't chase these things. They are always there. You just weren't looking at it the right way to be able to see that those things have always been there. This is some deep talk here, guys, But go watch my videos. You understand what I'm talking about if this is new to you. So yeah, this is really all I wanted to talk about today. This whole midlife crisis thing, it shouldn't even be a thing, but I guess it is, and this is why I came here to, give my take on it, and perhaps, some people will be able to see things a little bit different now and stop being preoccupied with like what could have happened, what should have happened when it already happened. And there's no reason to be depressed or lonely. You're not alone. You're never alone. You have yourself first of all. And there are things that, like I said in other videos, there are things that we can't see with our eyes. There are people who always walk our path with us. Our spirit, our spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever the heck you want to call it. These things are real. They exist. And just because we can't see them doesn't mean they're not there. We're never alone here. Ever. Take that to heart. Truly. Know and understand what that means, because I'm serious, guys. We're not alone. There's no reason to feel lonely here. Or depressed. Find something to do that will give you some joy, that will make you feel alive. That's all that most people are lacking. It's not complicated at all. There's no reason to overthink, overanalyze, and overcomplicate things. That's it. This is the video. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. So if you guys like the content, don't forget to hit that like button. Please share, subscribe, and I will catch you all on the next one. Take care. Be safe. Until next time.